Chris Crawford to the Weaverville Board of Adjustments. And it is my pleasure to recommend his reappointment to the, that we recommended to the Buncombe County Commissioners as our ETJ member on the Zoning Board of Adjustment.
I so move that we recommend him.
I second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
And I don't know if we could we go back to the previous discussion for just a second?
Sure.
Do we want to have a task force or a committee to look into this?
I would like something to go forward with this as far as the mayor appointing a couple of council people or work with town management to come up with some ideas to present to council for the things that we've discussed.
So perhaps a couple of the council members would like to work with the town manager. Are there any volunteers? Jean and Dottie? Okay.
Luckily, I've known most of them, you know, over the past 16 years, but there are a lot of them that I would like to, you know, there's one here tonight that I don't personally know. And I think it was a good idea to get to know them a little bit, like you said, over a cup of coffee or whatever. And I know there's some of the others that don't know as many even as I do.
Okay.
We'll work on it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Well, you're welcome. And we will now go to the next item on the agenda, which is the appointment of William Biggers, John Dankel, and Jeff McKenna to the Weaverville Board of Adjustments.
And these all seem like qualified people, so I recommend that we appoint them.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of this motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. And I must point out that what's his name? Jeff McKenna will be replacing Karen Ruffin. And his appointment will be good until April of 2008. Next item on the agenda is a request from Windsor Alti, am I saying that? Alti Company, 52-lot subdivision on Pleasant Grove Road. And has this been approved by the Planning and Zoning Board?
Yes, ma'am, it has. This is a project that has made its trip to the Planning and Zoning Board about 3 times. Started out with about 50-some lots quite some time ago, ran into issues with the sewer line, and they phased it back down to 4 lots or 5 lots. And now the sewer issues, MSD's in the process of upgrading the sewer line along Rims Creek, that they will be able to provide sewer to this project. And so the developer has come back, gone to the Board of Adjustments, to the Planning and Zoning Board, and it's made this request. It has been approved by the Planning and Zoning Board.
Mike, I have a question regarding
Yes,
this. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend that meeting.
Yes.
And this probably is something that Patsy can help out with.
I'll try.
But one of the conditions that was mentioned there is, I think Zane Cole and his brother Ron Cole has adjoining property. And it was pointed out that, you know, infrequently, but maybe once every 5 to 10 years, we have these torrential rains. And we have this very heavy runoff. The land has changed from what it was years ago. Vegetation's been removed and so forth. And one of the stipulations was that they wanted to make sure that if this development went forward, that they had some kind of guarantee that whenever this torrential rain occurred, and it may be 5 years, and it went downstream and damaged property and so forth, that this could be rectified and with some kind of binding agreement. Now, he said that the Windsor Altry is certainly willing to go forward and come forth with an agreement that would be satisfactory to him, and they'd work it out. But, as we all know, when you take and you create a subdivision and you have a property owners association and they vote on certain things, that sometimes things can fall between the cracks in the future. Now, while that is an agreement between the property owners and the developer, I guess my question to you, Patsy, is if the council members sign off on this, we don't have any legal documentation that is protected. I spoke with Zane, and he indicated that they were talking about maybe the homeowners having some kind of insurance policy and so forth. But I guess what I'm saying is, I'd hate for 3 years from now, well, I'd hate for any occurrence to occur, but it would, I wouldn't want to see 3 years from now someone come back and say, well, the council approved this, and this situation was known, and yet it was not properly handled or protected. So can you give us some advice on how this should be handled? This is between those two parties, but it's a conditional sign-off.
And actually, you don't have a subdivision procedure here that's quasi-judicial, that's with conditions. So it's strictly a technical approval if they go down the checklist and they comply with the technical requirements. But let me ask Mike, is this in the ETJ or is it in the city? If it's in the ETJ, I believe it's subject to the county stormwater requirements. And so they would have to comply with those. And those are pretty substantial now that have been adopted. And would the homeowners association be taking care of the stormwater system?
Correct.
Only if a town accepts the stormwater system are they responsible for any maintenance or any repairs to the stormwater system. There was a case in North Carolina about liability for stormwater repairs if the town is responsible for maintenance of the stormwater system. But in this case, where the town is not going to be maintaining it, but it's the homeowners association, they would be the one responsible for that.
So, as I understand it, this agreement is going to be something between the two private parties.
That's correct, yes.
Okay.
Or would they be put in covenants for the homeowners association? Is that how it would be done?
Most likely, and typically, although I don't know exactly how they're going to set up this, but if it's private streets with the private stormwater system within the street system, then the homeowners association is responsible for maintaining that.
But the damage from runoff to other people's property, how would that be handled?
It'd be the responsibility of whoever caused that excess runoff and damage, so that if it came from that subdivision as a result of the stormwater system, a defect in the stormwater system, and if that is owned by the homeowners association, notice there's several ifs in there, but whoever owns that and has responsibility for maintenance would be the entity that you'd look to be responsible for any damages.
Mike, I have a question or two. The plat shows a common area for stormwater detention. Do we know what sort of detention facility is planned for? You know, really a rather large lot that takes up the space of better than 2 house lots.
The developer's here with his engineer, and I'll turn that question over to them. Now, it does have to meet Buncombe County stormwater.
I understand, but I looked at the checklist and that had not been approved at the time the checklist was completed and sent to us. And there's a notation that the erosion control plan is pending and the stormwater plan is pending.
The answer, I think, is that we have to sign.
Step up.
Could you come to the microphone, please, and give us your name?